what makes you the best candidate for this position?
Of the non-incumbents, I mean, obviously we have 3 incumbents running for their seats again. 2 are running for their second terms, full terms in office, and then 1 is running for her third term. I feel like it's time to develop some new leadership in Tempe. And I feel like I am well positioned, particularly among the non-incumbents, to be the person that potentially unseats one of the incumbents.
Welcome back to the Around the Districts podcast. I'm Gabrielle Mazar, and our guest today is Brooke St. She is a Tempe resident. She is an Arizona native, and she is running for Tempe City Council. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you.
So I want to get started by, why don't you just tell us a little about who you are, your background, history, and why you're deciding to run for city council?
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in Tempe. I was a Wagner KMS Corona kid. So I grew up in these here districts. And then I put my son through the same districts when I moved back to Tempe. So like I said, I was born and raised here. I moved away 5 days after I turned 18. I graduated high school in 96, went off to college, stayed away for 20 years. And when it was time to come back to Arizona to care for my aging parents, I was like, I don't want to be anywhere but Tempe. So I moved right back into my same old neighborhoods and sent my son to Wagner, KMS, and Corona. So, so I moved back at the end of 2026. So it's been almost a decade now, the end of 2016. So it's been almost a decade now. And I kind of just plunged myself into community work. When I got here in 2018, I started volunteering on campaigns. In 2020 and 2021, I started running campaigns, and I was doing that for a few years before I worked at City Hall. In the meantime, I was the PTO president at the same middle school that I was the student council president at. I worked in City Hall, where I was also, in the 90s on the Mayor's Youth Advisory Commission. So I think everything's sort of come full circle for me. I decided to run for council because I think it's time to develop new leadership here in Tempe, and I feel like I'm well positioned to be new leadership should I get elected, because I know the ins and outs of the city and how it's run. I know the players, I know the processes. I know how to run campaigns, so I'm able to just kind of run my own campaign. I have a small team, and we're just really grassroots organizing this. And I'm running to be a public servant. Tempe, I feel like, just really raised me, and I am ready to give back and serve my community in that way.
What does city council do?
Good question. Yeah. A lot of people don't.
I think a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, they think that city council has more broad stroke power than they do in the city. I mean, the essential duties are to set the city budget, to approve. That is not actually set it. Let's say the experts within the city set the budget and present it to council, and they approve it or not, or request changes. Same with any zoning issues or development projects that come through. Those go through an extensive process before they then come to council for a first hearing. At that point, city council can be like, well, we would like this based on community input. We would like you to make this change, and then come back to us. There's a second hearing, and then they vote to approve or disapprove a development project. They set city ordinances and policies. They hire top city staff. So city manager, city attorney, the city clerk, and I believe the city judge are all appointed by mayor and council. And then the city manager makes the rest of the hiring decisions for the city. And city council is restricted by the city charter. They are to stay out of that. So it's really, they're figureheads in a way. And they do a lot of the ribbon cuttings and the whatnot. But the real work is in understanding the development projects before them, listening to the community, and taking that input into account in making policy decisions and development decisions, how they're going to affect neighborhoods and whatnot. And that comes into account when they decide whether to approve or deny a development project, is how it's going to affect the neighborhood.
Yeah, and they've been developing Tempe quite a bit, right?
They sure have. Well, we're landlocked, right? Yeah, right. And unlike some of the other, Chandler can't grow endlessly, but I mean, they have room to grow into the desert, or Gilbert, or even, Ahwatukee to some extent. But with Tempe, we're surrounded. And so the thing is, we kind of got to go up. Mm-hmm. So we just approved and by we, I mean the city of Tempe voters approved the 2050 general plan, which has the different zoning areas where we know, like, we're not going to come into South Tempe with a high-rise development. that has its own character area. A lot of the high rises that you're going to see be developed are north of the 60, particularly around the ASU campus. And there's limits in height and how we want to do that, but I think when we're landlocked, we have to be really smart about the developments and the housing that we are building in this city so that people can continue to live here.
Yeah.
And move here if they want to, or if they graduate from ASU, stay here.
And Tempe residents are very passionate about it.
They sure
They're
are.
very passionate and very boisterous about the development of Tempe. I think because there are historic homes there, and a lot of people that live there have lived there their entire lives. I know with the development of the Coyote Stadium, which is why they left, that was a huge to do. But they're passionate. They want to keep the integrity of Tempe what it is.
Right.
And I because I'm from here as well. Actually, I grew up in Tempe. I moved to Ahwatukee in middle school. And went to ASU. The development around ASU from when I was in college, like 4 days ago to now, is insane. I mean, it's unrecognizable,
Truly.
the area. It's completely unrecognizable. And even when, what's the restaurant that just closed down a couple years ago?
Monty's?
No, well, that one too.
Yes.
That's a historic building.
Yes. It's now Downtown Tempe Authority.
Yeah.
But what restaurant? I mean, so many have closed down.
the
COVID closed down so many of our restaurants.
The one with all the trees.
Oh, where the Night Owl is going in?
I have no idea, but it's been there 30 years. It was there 30 years, and the owners just retired and sold the land. House of Tricks. House of Tricks. That's right. Yeah, House of Tricks.
So many
Love
good
that
memories
place.
in House
So
of
many
Tricks.
good memories.
And now it's going to be a high rise. They did relocate the building itself, so they saved that historic building, and I don't know exactly where they put it, but they just last week relocated that building.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
it is sad. It's an unfortunate part of life and growing as a city, and we have more people moving here every year. So you got to house them and make it affordable as well. That's a lot of the problem is housing is just so. I think I saw yesterday a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house for rent for $2,700 a month. Like, holy cow!
Like, who can?
That seems insane to me.
That's because it is.
Yeah, it's. I was just talking about this yesterday. My first apartment was right down the street from here, Chandler and 48th Street. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. It was $754 a month, and 5 of us lived in that apartment.
Wow.
And we still had a hard time making our rent.
You're still eating bean and cheese burritos.
Eating at work and, shopping at Costco for everybody. But so the prices are astronomical now, and, you want to make things the best for your residents as possible. Mm-hmm. So there are quite a few people running for this position, correct?
There are 7 people running for 3 seats.
7 people running for 3 seats. So let me ask you, I know you talked about yourself a little bit, but what makes you the best candidate for this position?
I feel like of the non-incumbents, I mean, obviously we have 3 incumbents running for their seats again. 2 are running for their second terms, full terms in office, and then 1 is running for her third term. I feel like it's time to, I've probably said this, to develop some new leadership in Tempe. And I feel like I am well positioned, particularly among the non-incumbents, to be the person that potentially unseats one of the incumbents because of my history at City Hall, because I have the institutional knowledge, but also because of my advocacy for the community. I've long been a community volunteer. I was like I said, the PTO president at Kyrie Middle School for 3 years, which really got me involved in local businesses, in creating those partnerships. We were coming out of COVID when I took that over. So getting people back on campus, back involved with the school was a big challenge. And so creating those partnerships with the community was huge. Also, I serve on the board for the Tempe YMCA. I serve on the board for Youth Impact Mentoring, which used to be called Boys to Men. I've helped out with the boys, Big Brothers Big Sisters. I mean, community volunteerism is just a natural passion of mine. So I think that mixed with my institutional knowledge and the relationships that I've been able to develop around not only in the city, but with other elected officials around the valley and even at our state legislature and the big three, the Katie, Chris, Adrian at the top, like I just feel like I'm well positioned to make some changes and to be an advocate for the community amongst the people that are making some decisions for our
And
state.
having been, a resident, grown up here, a lot of people in the community as well. So that's really helpful to know the people firsthand, to know what people want, to be involved, and to understand what changes can be made or should be made to help better the community as a whole, right? So we're here with Brooke St. George. We're going to get back to some more questions after this or in the next episode. But we'll see you in the next episode. Like, share, comment on any of the things we had to talk about. This is the Around the Districts podcast.